Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features the Incredible Hulk issue 384, cover dated August 1991. So this is an official Infinity Gauntlet crossover tie-in. That was the mega event of the summer of 1991 across the Marvel Universe, where Thanos had acquired the Infinity Stones and had become, in effect, God. So some of the ramifications of that span out among a number of Marvel titles that particular summer. Not really the X titles, but main titles like Incredible Hulk. And what's intriguing is that Peter David never really enjoyed, maybe even that's putting it mildly, whenever major line-wide crossovers would impinge upon his ongoing storylines in titles like The Hulk or X Factor. Indeed, he was so annoyed by having to put on hold his plans for X Factor and deal with Executioner's Song that he quit the book. But he dealt with it interestingly in respect of the Hulk. He wasn't going to quit working on the Hulk. So you see here the cover is by Dale Keown, pencils and inks by him. A very gritty style of inking, but I do like his hatching and I do like how inventive this particular cover is. So we see the Abomination there. We've got a close-up on his head and shoulders. He's disfigured since the Grey Hulk threw him in toxic waste in issue 364. And here is the new version of the Hulk, the Professor persona, standing on his shoulder somehow, and we've our cover captions. The Abomination is over 6 feet tall. The Hulk is under 6 inches. Boy, is the Abomination in for an earful. And then we've got that speech balloon there and another thing. So pretty humorous, and you can see the look on the Abomination's face. He's absolutely baffled at what's happening there. Also, as I've mentioned in the previous video review on 383, the covers at Marvel at the time were colored by different colorists than the interior colorist, primarily George Ruse, and he hasn't got the note that the Hulk is supposed to be wearing a brown jumpsuit. So instead he's wearing his usual purple pants as well as a blue shirt open at the chest. Anyway, let's get into this one. We have a splash page to begin, and like I said, this is an Infinity Gauntlet tie-in, so we see Thanos there. The particular issue of Infinity Gauntlet that this ties into is issue number 4, which is the issue in which Thanos defeats the surviving superheroes of the Marvel Universe, including Iron Man there, Wolverine and Thor. And we have their names there, and then comically Annette, Cubby and Bruce. And then we turn the page and it's the Hulk, because he was there taking on Thanos in issue number 4 of Infinity Gauntlet as well. Written by Jim Starlin, penciled by Ron Lim. Mouseketeer roll call. That was Bruce's favourite show back when he laughed. Laughter dark and hideous, Thanos's. The laughter of death and the stink of fear, and then the Hulk exclaims no. And he is back on terra firma, but exactly where? This is a great anchor image here. Love the spotting of blacks and the lighting of the texture of the stone wall there and the ledge that the Hulk is standing on with the cast shadow behind him. No more, no laughing, no light, no more, no. And then he gets his wits back. Where the heck am I? From stream of consciousness to stream of sewage. So there he is standing on the ledge, looking down at the sewer. Whatever that water is down there, it stinks to high heaven. That is, of course, if anyone in heaven is still watching, because Thanos possesses omniscience. So Thanos is, in a sense, watching, or is he distracted by what's going on in Infinity Gauntlet number 5? Everything seems so fragmented, says Hulk, as if it were a dream or happened to somebody else completely. People dying, Thor, others, a huge fight, everyone getting killed, except it's gone now, just like that flittering away. Whatever knocked me out certainly did a job on me, so now I have to find out where I am and how to get back where I was, wherever that was. This place is huge. I could wander around here for days. Rats, he says. What else could go wrong? And look at this figure behind him, the glowing red eyes, the whiskers, and those buck teeth as well. What could it be? Really like the layout on this particular page as well. These tall vertical panels gives you a sense of scale around the Hulk. Love the spotting of blacks there and uplighting too on the side of the Hulk's face. It's really, really well done. And there we have yet another splash page. Title of the story, Small Talk, as the Hulk is attacked by a huge rat. Except, of course, we know from the cover it's him who shrunk down. The rat's its normal size. A little tale from Peter David Ryder, Dale Keown penciler, Mark Farmer inker, Glynis Oliver colorist, and Joe Rosen letterer. So really, really good stuff. An intriguing start. But Peter David has cleverly basically acknowledged the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, but he's getting back to what he was focused on, which is the Hulk being in the sewers pursuing Abomination. So the rat here grabs Hulk right between its jaws, but Hulk, of course, is still strong no matter the size of his scale, and he breaks out of the rat's jaws and is able to lift the rat up. This is very humorous stuff. And he says here, no wonder about the rat. I was thinking about the Mickey Mouse Club. I must have overheard Ricky Rat here squealing nearby. You're toast, R-I-C-K-E-Y. Why? Turn the page. Because you make us sick, R-A-T. So, you know, like in Ireland, we never got the Mickey Mouse Club, not that I'm aware of, but where I know that song primarily from is, and I mean, like, this is kind of funny in and of itself, is, have a guess, it's from Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket, from the end of the movie, where the soldiers are singing that song as they disappear into the smoke and debris of the battle that they've just undertaken in the city, and having killed that female sniper as well, like the Heart of Darkness, and they're singing the Mickey Mouse Club song. The irony of it. In any case, back to this particular story. Hulk says, after having smashed the rat against the wall, this is going to make getting home even tougher than I thought. Judging from the size of that thing, I'm obviously on some sort of alien world. I mean, last time I checked, they didn't grow rats that big on Earth. But then he sees a Coke can and an apple core, and he knows now he can put it together with the intellect of Bruce Banner that he's been shrunk down when returned to Earth. So then we've got like Peter David dealing with the emotional consequences of Thanos' killing half the living beings in the universe. So Marlo is there calling her mother to check in on her, but she's also watching the TV news. One of the TV news anchors vanished. Here's shocking news footage from our New York affiliate. So they happen to have a camera on at the Metamorphosis show, and we just so happen to see Rick disappearing when he was calling Marlo to see was she okay. And then that joke of his about how he can't die now, he's got a gig on Thursday, and Marlo faints. Her mother's still there on the phone and not recognizing what's going on in the world. So this kind of conveys to us the fact that Marlo, a new girlfriend for Rick, really does care about him. She's genuine in her emotional investment in him. So I think that's a nice little scene there. And then we're back with the Hulk in the sewers. It wasn't some sort of dream, he says. It really happened. All of us battling some creature named Thanos. And he shrunk me down to this, then tossed me back to Earth as if I were nothing, which I am to him. And then he sees someone coming in silhouette. He calls up to him, and he sees it's the Abomination passing by with his wife, or ex-wife, Nadia Dornova, the actress. Great, he can't hear me, my voice is too small. Oh, better and better. It's Emil Blonsky, the Abomination, and he's still got Nadia, the woman he kidnapped, and back in New York. So Hulk has put it all together. This is a great page here. Love the layouts. These 3 vertical panels, really again selling us on scale. So the Hulk leaps at Abomination, but he overjumps him. And then Abomination sees something smash off the pipe. He thinks it's mosquitoes. And Hulk is thinking here, oh, wonderful. Thanos reduced my size and my mass. I'm too light, screwed up my entire trajectory. So he drops there into the sewer water as Abomination passes by. Now, this particular page, the layout here, the top-down perspective, the kind of worm's eye perspective here, reminded me of a scene from the Steven Spielberg 2022 movie, The Fabelmans. I think that's the title of the movie, because I've never seen the movie itself. Instead, the one scene that I've seen from the film is the John Ford one. So it's basically a kind of a memoir, a part fiction, part memoir of Steven Spielberg as a young man. And he includes an actual meeting he had with the great film director John Ford, most well known for his westerns. And the young Steven Spielberg character at the age of 17 or whatever he's supposed to be goes in to have a little meeting with his idol. And John Ford is played by David Lynch. And Ford basically has only two pieces of advice for the young wannabe director. And it's about the horizon line, and how a high horizon line or a low horizon line is all you need to know as a director to make the visuals look interesting. And you can see here, just in these two panels here, we have Dale Keown doing exactly that for the comics, and it looks so great. It's really, really good. And then just recently, because it's the 50th anniversary of the movie, I was rewatching Jaws on Blu-ray, the 1975 film, Steven Spielberg film. And if you watch that film, you can see Spielberg using a low horizon line and a high horizon line throughout the movie, like really putting into creative and creative effect, but also successful effect, that laconic and kind of funny from a viewer's perspective. Advice from a very, what would we call him, like kind of, it's laconic but also crotchety John Ford, played excellently by, now unfortunately, the late David Lynch. But let's get back to the story. So Hulk is there in the sewage water. All right, this is just a minor setback. So I like his tenacity. And then, you know, he's pretty much stomped on by the Abomination. All right, a major setback. But there is no way that I'm going to let a little thing like this stop me. Because as Betty Banner once said, size isn't important. What does that mean? Is that a memory back to when he was Bruce Banner only? Anyway, let's move quickly past that. And then that's our transition to Betty herself. And Bruce is thinking about her. Betty, hope she's okay back in Reno. So Betty's decided in the previous issue she doesn't want to be... how will I put it, just a wife to the Hulk. She wants her own job and her own identity, and so she's out looking for jobs, and she's come to this one, this hotline, and she's waiting to be interviewed. But of course the events of Thanos killing half the universe are playing out as well. And Betty is unaware of it. Excuse me, I'm waiting for Mrs. Maxwell. That's me, but I'm afraid that now isn't. But Betty's insistent. Oh, come on. Now you're going to cancel after I've waited here for a couple of hours? So the woman is trying to explain, and then Betty cuts her off. Betty Banner. Listen, I know I don't have a lot of experience, but I can do this job. I think the idea of a number where people can call for any emergency, from removing stains to deep depression, is just great. So Mrs. Maxwell says, I'm glad you like it, but Betty's insistent, and I'm good on the phone and under great pressure. Boy, you wouldn't believe some of the pressure I've been under. Why, just the other day. So the woman hires her. This is a really well done scene as well. Great acting by Dale Keown in Dale Keown's pencils on Betty, her body language, everything, with her new look, the blonde dye job. And then meanwhile, and again, we've got this top-down angle once again. So definitely Dale Keown thinking about how to sell us on the fact that the Hulk has been shrunk to 6 inches only. I've heard about this sort of thing, thinks the Hulk. Entire homeless communities living beneath the streets of New York, huddling around steam pipes for warmth, foraging for food. So Emil's one of the homeless now. Doesn't surprise me. Where's he got to go? And then he sees that Nadia is waking up. She wakes up. She's frightened of this hideous figure. She doesn't know that her husband transformed into the Abomination. She's unaware of that. She thinks her husband's dead. And Abomination says, I'm that hideous. You can't even look at me. You see, that's part of my problem in trying to exist above. Down here, my true friends accept me. They don't run and scream. We're equals. Democracy without pretensions. Communism without the stigma. It's civilized. Those are good lines for him, a former citizen of the USSR. And then he says, please stop crying. Don't you understand I'm doing you a favor? So this is all kind of tapping into tropes of Beauty and the Beast, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, Phantom of the Opera. All of that is factoring in here. Favor, what are you talking about? She asks. It's chaos up there, says Abomination. Pandemonium. People are dying, vanishing without a trace. And those that are left are stampeding like mindless cattle. You've been crushed. You'd have been crushed if I hadn't rescued you. So she thanks him and she says, I'd rather take my chances up there. So Abomination continues, I've long admired you. Your work in Europe, stunning, incredible. You're the greatest actress of our generation. Of course, the last time I saw you, you were Nadia Blonsky. So she replies, my married name. My husband died on some sort of state business. How did you see me in Europe? And then he says here, an interesting kind of switch of perspective where we're looking at his face. And even though this is like a hideous visage, we can see the emotion here as he talks indirectly about himself. Once I was a man as other men, then I changed and couldn't see you anymore. But when I learned you were coming here, I had to. And then she's beginning, it's dawning on her, your voice familiar somehow. He says, just one of many that shouted bravo from a darkened theatre. It's a really good scene by Peter David. The writing's excellent here. He continues, interesting choice from Dale Keown, borderless panel. But we're going to be together now, says Abomination. You see, it's Judgment Day above, watching from a distance. I didn't know whether to approach you, but when people started vanishing, I knew that it was a sign that we were to be together. And when the Hulk tried to stop me and was yanked away by the heavens themselves, that confirmed it. Oh, there's a little spider walking across the page here of my comic book. You can see that spider walking across. Is it going to make it to the other side? I think I'll just blow him away a little bit. Crouching down. Okay, head along there. Or is it coming back? Anyway, back into the story. Would it surprise you? She replies, you terribly, if I said I've no idea what you're talking about. So Abomination continues, I'm speaking of love, of inner beauty. And she whispers, love? For you, you're insane. So she starts pounding on his chest there. You're some horrid, ugly monstrosity with sick, perverted dreams. And you want to torture me and drive me as insane as you are. And then we've got like a little audience there, because this is very melodramatic stuff. They're watching. An Abomination. There's the spider back again. Okay, that should deal with the spider for a while at least. He's got nothing to say. His head is dropped. Again, conveying the emotion really well there in the art, Dale Keown. And then a voice, a tiny voice, speaks to him. Emile, let her go. So he is taken by surprise. Who said that? He asks her, did you say that? And she denies it. And then the small voice again, I said let her go. There it is again. If this is some trick. So she hears nothing, and the voice continues. Only you can hear me, Emile. Release her. And Abomination asks, who are you? Don't you know? No. He says, this is the Lord, Emile, and I'm not happy, not one bit. And you can see his eye pop there with shock and surprise. Really, really good stuff. I like the layouts on this page too, and how the kind of, so to speak, camera pans in on Abomination there as well. Really excellent stuff from Dale Keown. And then we're back in Reno with Betty and her job interview. So she's gotten the news about half the world just vanishing. That's horrible. And the woman says, no, The smell of 4-week-old milk is horrible. This goes a bit beyond that, and it's lighting up our phones like a Christmas tree whenever there's a national emergency. Our switchboard goes haywire. So she says, sit. Our purpose is to be here for people, and when something like this happens, those people need us desperately. You may wind up fielding suicide calls, which I'd rather you didn't do since you're raw, but I don't have much choice. And Betty says, you seem so calm about it all. And the woman says, I'm still here. I figure that puts me ahead of the game. So she gives her information about a card index with answers to give for common queries. And then Betty says, I didn't know I'd be staying. Can I call my roommate, make sure she's all right and tell her I am? This once, okay, says the woman. But after that, no personal calls. Good luck. You'll need it. Yeah, again, interesting layout there. Mostly borderless panel here in the middle of the page. Keeps it interesting. And then, time for a joke. Who's in the cubicle next to Betty? Hi, welcome to the funny farm, she says. Betty introduces herself. It's Veronica. So we've got an Archie comics joke. I won't make jokes if you won't, says Betty. Deal. And then Betty calls Marlowe, but Marlowe is still unconscious on the floor, and the phone's busy from the call to her mother. So Betty's unaware that Marlowe is unconscious. So let's see. Back with Abomination. He's there, skeptical. All right, who are you? I'm not laughing. So it's the Hulk on his shoulder, like on the cover. You've seen my handiwork this evening, Emile. Why do you find it so difficult to believe it's me? And Hulk thinks to himself, we pulled this years ago at Caltech on a guy using his braces as a radio receiver, and the gag got used later in that movie about geniuses. Hope Emile never saw it. So what movie is that Peter Dave is referencing? Like, my thought was it doesn't exactly work, but I was thinking of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, where Ted sets up a recorder of himself calling his father in the police station so that they can get out of the cell. And that's what I was thinking of there. But is there another movie where something a little closer, what the Hulk is thinking of there, is the reference? Anyway, Abomination says, all right, if you are the Lord, what's my mother's name? And I like this bit. You dare to ask the Lord trivia questions. So the Hulk claps his hands together, and that stuns Abomination. Excellent. Even with decreased mass, I can still do serious damage if I'm close enough, thinks the Hulk. And then he continues with his ruse. Are you under the impression that the Lord has nothing better to do than be quizzed by you? He throws it's like some rocks at Abomination, or is it he throws a punch at his chin. Perfect. He doesn't know where the punches are coming from, but he's feeling them all the same. Now let's see how far we can push this. So he jumps back up onto the shoulder, and he says, look at her, Emile. If you keep her down here, Emile, she'll wither and die. Is that what you want for her? Now look at yourself. And then we've got the reflection in the puddle there, that hideous reflection. She remembers a brave, handsome husband. Is this what you'd give her instead? So Abomination asks, are you saying there's no chance that if I tell her who I am? A chance, yes, says Hulk. She may run into your arms, reaffirm her love, swear fealty to a monster. Fairy tales do come true. There is a much greater chance that she will be repulsed by you, horrified, and all traces of the man she loved and admired, named Emile Blonsky, will be forever erased by the Abomination. So of course there's an irony with this coming from the Hulk himself, given the fact that Betty is scared of this new version of the Hulk, the one that she said to Marlowe in the previous issue radiates danger. So Abomination is considering what has been said to him, and the Hulk presses. It's Judgment Day, Emile. A day of decisions. Decide. So in frustration, he just starts hammering at the steam pipes, and then he stands still with his head bowed, and that gives Nadia a chance to escape, but she knocks into a wall, and then he decides magnanimously to take her up to the surface world. She loved me once, he says. I'm still the man I was inside. If she loved that man, why can't she love this one? And Hulk says, and again, there's irony playing around this, because as much as humans would love to believe otherwise, love incorporates more than just the spirit. Humans consider the outward appearance to be an accurate reflection of the inner soul. Love isn't really blind, just selectively nearsighted. And then Abomination deposits Nadia back in her hotel. She thinks maybe it's all a dream. And Hulk on Abomination's shoulder says to him, "You made the right decision, Emil." And Emil replies, or the Abomination replies, "She's beautiful, isn't she? It's my curse, you see, that I can perceive beauty wherever I look, in nature and language, everywhere, except in my own reflection. I know you're the Lord and everything you said was right, but still, you've no idea of what it's like to be transformed into a monster and rejected for your appearance by a woman you love." So that's right on the nose for what happened in the previous issue to Hulk, with Betty being afraid of him. And so he sits down, the rain starts to pour. "Oh, I know all too well. Goodbye, Emil," he says. And this is a great bit here. We're looking down at the Abomination's bowed head from behind. "Goodbye, Hulk," and "Goodbye, Nadia." So what an interesting resolution. So many times in the past, the Hulk versus Abomination was something that was resolved by fisticuffs, by power, by strength, or in the case of the Grey Hulk versus Abomination, by smarts. And this one is resolved by small talk and a different kind of ruse, and the Hulk playing on Abomination's conscience and his belief in there being something, a religious sign going on with the disappearance of half the people in the world. It's very interesting from Peter David. He's really turned out an intriguing story that plays around with the expectations of readers, and it's all part of thinking cleverly about how to tie this issue into the events of Infinity Gauntlet. And speaking of which, the Hulk here finds himself being bounced through another portal, and he'll materialize in issue 6 of Infinity Gauntlet for the finale of that excellent miniseries. Next issue, New York Berserk. Atalanta and Ajax attack. The Hulk unleashed. The creature called Gestalt. All in Dark Domain. And then letters here concerning issue 380 of the Hulk. And there you go. Well, I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on Hulk 384. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comment section. If you enjoyed my review and commentary, please like and share the video. It really does help the channel. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.